All right, we are live. People should start coming in here pretty soon. This video will likely stay up, so I'll do some quick introductions as people start making their way in. Down below me, you guys know the mayor. Mayor, how you doing?
Doing good. Coming at you from the mayor's office tonight.
Ooh.
Not really. It's just the back corner of the room. I won't really tell you what I exactly call it, but it's my private space in the house. We thought we would do it this way.
Every man needs one.
Absolutely. Yep. You got to have a hideaway from the world to get work done, of course. And then this man may be new to some of you guys, but the OGs of the channel, the classics, they know TMD over here. And T is the one rocking this beautiful beard stash. And we'll have a chance to talk all about that and Todd's many varying levels of facial hair degrees. So Mr. Todd, TMD, how you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, gentlemen, ladies in the chat, we are here tonight just to hang out. We are all likely at home with not work tomorrow, especially being a Saturday. And so we want to have a place to spread positive vibes, to have compassion for others, and really just decompress, right? We got all this stuff going on. We have had every family member sending us articles. We have the news playing over and over again. Myself, I try to kind of avoid all that, but I think you got to have a place to simply be able to talk about some things, get it off your chest, while at the same time, we're not here to dispute, to debate. We're not going to go over the validity of anything, if it's right or it's wrong. We're just kind of talking about how it is and really kind of what we're doing moving forward. And then above all, just hanging out and enjoying ourselves tonight. And I think we're all kind of stocked up with some supplies. Mayor, what are you working with today on the beverages?
Got the Sweet and Hot and the Mountain Dew and of course the water in case we call for that.
Yes, of course. And TMD, you know the deal. If anybody asks about something, we say you got a video, say drink, and we drink the water.
Okay.
So TMD, what are you working with for snacks tonight?
I just got the dew and I've got caramel corn.
Okay.
I need to step up my game in the jerky department for sure.
That is true. And so for myself, guys, I have some also the Jack Link's Sweet and Hot. I got a couple other backups if needed here. I got some new hot ones in for Wednesday that is killing me not to tear apart right now. But we'll save that for Wednesday. And then I'm rocking a Michigan cider tonight, Saint Cherry. So get that down. I got some candy backups if we need anything. So hello everybody in the chat. How is everybody doing? So we got Joseph, Swag, Adam, Mask. We got Go Habs. We got Jamonte, Leo. We got Tyson. We got John, Charlie, Nate, Jay, Matt, Corey, Tim, Dan. Whew, everybody's in here. Kenneth, CJ, so welcome on in. Well, first things first, gentlemen and people in the chat, what do you guys have in beard today?
I'm rocking. I got the mid joint. I'm gonna say it wrong, but my favorite.
Oh,
it gets a little off when I say it. Mid joiner, but it's not that. What is it again? How do I say it?
Mjolnir.
Yeah, Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
It's my thing. Mjolnir butter. Betsy actually told me I needed to get my beard in shape before I got here. She said it was rough. I think it was a little fluffy on the side. But that's good. She's making positive comments. She cares how it looks. She's talking about the beard, acknowledging it exists. So that's a breakthrough.
Yeah. TMD?
I've got Nicholas Beard Works, the made to orders. It's really, I love that. It's quality stuff. I mean,
yeah, twins. I have Nicholas Beardworks as well. That's I dropped a review today, of course, every Friday. My review next week is an update review for Nicholas Beardworks. So I'm rocking the NBW as well. So super quality. I got a lot of new products from him. So I'm excited to tell everybody my thoughts on all of that. And hello, we got a bunch of people coming on in as they go right now. We got the bearded guy, or AKA David, as he likes to be called sometimes. We have, who did I see else in here? That's we got Sandy's in the building. We got Sober Chef Eric. We got the Funk himself. And I think I saw Mr. Gibson Beard Adventures in here. So very cool. A lot of good products out there. Now, Mayor, you have Nicholas Beard Works as well. So that's one of the few products that we all have in common with Nicholas Beard Works.
Yep, I love that one. I use the tobacco vanilla for my cheek hairs as a shaving.
Okay, that's the one. Yeah, that's a nice thick one to be able to get that job done.
Is it the argan oil that is the? I know I watched your comedogenic scale. Is it the argan oil that kind of keeps it from reacting? You said it doesn't really react with your skin.
Yeah, argan oil or Moroccan oil, same thing. It's a wonderful one, especially for your skin. Yeah, I think it's I know it's a 0 on the comedogenic scale. So that's a wonderful one. And that one's interesting. You watched the video, but that comes from a tree in Morocco. If you guys have ever seen the pictures of the tree that have the goats in it.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe.
You know what I'm talking about? So they have this tree where goats jump in it, and it's only located in Morocco, and that's the argan oil tree. That's where they get the argan oil from. So, oh, man, my buddy Nick Bird, he's from one of the Carolinas right now, I believe. I know he used to be a professor at Clemson. He knows how much that I love Blake's, and he found some Blake's down wherever in one of the Carolinas, and he got the triple jam. So that's cool. Really, I love seeing that across the night because you can grab J.K. Scrumpy and Blake's all over the country, which is really nice from our local area, both within 45 minutes of us.
So it looks like maybe it's a little hard to hear me. Hopefully that's a little better. I'll get a little closer. You guys are gonna get full on me though if the mic goes bad. No,
okay, was that feedback from Betsy? Because you sounded good to us.
No, it was go Habs.
Okay. Oh, hard to hear the mayor.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can. I don't think I can boost you or anything, but no.
Probably was sitting back, and I need to be sure to sit up.
Yeah, you got those habits.
Mm-hmm.
Now, TMD, are you a hat guy at all? I don't ever really see you rocking a hat.
Once in a while, I think usually just when I'm trying to just make a duck out of the house for a few minutes or something, and I haven't done anything. That's about all. But yeah, I don't wear them too often. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got like a real old hat that I just kind of throw on, but
dad hat.
Well, dad hat, yeah, serious hat.
Nice. Mayor looking super thin, and that beard game is serious.
Thanks, Vinny.
Thanks P. Throwing out those compliments. That's awesome. Well, for those of you that don't know, we all teach together. We all teach in middle school. TMD teaches 6th grade social studies. The mayor teaches 8th grade science, and then I teach 7th and 8th grade social studies. And we all kind of became really close friends from working together. But actually, randomly, Pokemon Go was kind of the bonding agent between us. And I couldn't even. Do you guys have even like an estimate of how many miles we've walked together?
Gosh, we
probably like 100 at least.
I was thinking, way more than that.
It could be, if you think about loops and round and round in circles, that's a hard one to put your finger on exactly what that number would be.
Right down the Ren. We did a lot of loops on the Rensen.
Right, because think about how many like 10K eggs we would crush out at a single session. Like it wouldn't be unheard of for us to walk 10 kilometers one time.
Oh yeah, down in Flint.
Yeah,
we hit that. Remember that? Yeah, that night, 2016, the election. Man,
yep,
we were chugging some miles that night.
For sure. So that's how we initially bonded. We all still play at varying levels, but it's just more and more complicated to kind of get together. So we use even like this channel to be able to hang out, work to be able to hang out. And TMD has gone through crazy variations of facial hair. He grows an amazing beard, but he's been all over the map from a full beard to a shaved baby face to the beard stash now to everything. And his fiance actually prefers the facial hair on TMD. So that's a bonus there. But Todd, do you want to go through some of your, and we'll get into all the coronavirus and all that talk, but part of this is beards too. So do you want to get into your ups and downs of facial hair, your thoughts, what made you shave it at times, what you like, what you dislike, anything at all, because the mayor brings that brand new facial hair experience for us, which is so valuable to this channel. You bring the roller coaster, the wild card, the X factor that many guys can relate to. So share whatever thoughts you got here.
And I think for me, I mean, I like the beard. I whenever I would do like cross country trips, because I used to take quite a few of them when I had my Westphalia. I would just not shave and, make my way out to California or whatever. And by the time I got there, I usually had a pretty good beard going. And I like a good beard, but eventually it just starts to, I don't know, it's just that phase I go in, and I don't like food getting in it, and I get frustrated with it. And, next thing, and so then it gets on my collar sometimes. And, so
and then you take action,
go down to a circle. I do, and I don't fight my way through it like you should. And so I sometimes I'll knock it all off, or I'll knock it down to a circle beard, or I'll knock it down to, I mean, and then right now I'm liking this because it stays off my collar. I just got to keep the food out of it. Yeah. If I can keep the food out of it, I'm good shape. So yeah, this is
So are you seeing the mustache as a challenge?
It's, and I got to calm it down, or I got to tame it a little bit, because it wants to like shoot straight out. And so if I just keep, playing with it and training it, I'll win the battle.
So Holly's pitching in on my microphone, huh? Very nice of you, Holly. I hope you guys can hear me at least a little bit. It couldn't be the furnace in the background of the mayor's office here. I don't know. Causing a little bit of the issue.
The mayor's got to hide from his family.
Yeah, I hear it. I hear it perfectly fine, but I think once you scooch closer, hopefully we're good to go there. But yeah, so TMD will have a full beard one day, and then the next day show up without saying a word, and we'll be clean shaven, not even like buzzed, like razor down to the face. And it's just a wild ride as he's going through that facial hair styles. But is the mustache a challenge for you? Because he has a big burly mustache. I would say it's even bigger than mine at this point. Is that what you're finding to be the most challenging part?
Yeah, and I think it's that, kind of getting in up under my lip, and then it's kind of, as I'm eating, it's kind of there, and I like start chewing on it, and that frustrates me. But I'm really trying hard to fight through it. It's just one of those things you gotta fight through. And I watched, you have a video about kind of trimming there, and but for me, I want to get it kind of bushy and really more pronounced up here than on the sides. So, but my beard is red, and it's just kind of blending in right now. So, but I'm not unhappy with it. I like it.
Yeah.
I got to keep working with it.
I would say your beard is rustic.
Yeah.
Rustic. Red is strong. You got nice different colorations in there.
It's just a hint of anything of red. I don't ever think of that, but
for sure,
I see it a little bit.
Yeah. And Charlie says, dumb question. What are the money stickers the see pop up support donations? And Holly from Whiskey and Hardtack perfectly said it. Yes, you can support the channel through Super Chat. So yeah, there's like a little money symbol next to your chat thing. I've never once asked for them. I would never do that. I don't like to say hey, support the channel, give donations, but obviously it's more than appreciated. So 100% thank you.
Dan wants to know if I took the microphone into the bathtub with me. And actually, we're using my iPad tonight, so technically, yes. The answer is yes, I did, because that's my portable little TV screen there in the old tub. So I don't think it never went into the actual water, so I can't really guess that that's the biggest issue. But who knows?
I have. I mean, I'm not as much of a bath taker as the mayor, but I have.
Who is?
Or two in the tub.
Oh, wait, you take baths as well?
I have. I mean, I don't take them that often, but there are times when I just want to relax.
Wow.
Well, there you go. That's why I knew I liked you.
We have a balance. There's always like varying levels of our balance. with the group. That's why it works. And TMD, if you see there, Vinny P said that look right now in TMD is very old school gentleman. If that makes sense, I love it.
Hey, thanks, Vinny.
And TMD is the old school gentleman. I'm kind of the firecracker. I'll light people up, make them cry in a meeting, and tell them how it is. The mayor's going to give you the quickest wit humor of all time. He'll drop a joke when he's not supposed to. He'll drop a joke before people even know it's coming. He's got it. TMD is the gentleman. He's the soft-spoken, the cool, calm, collected, and he wears a bow tie at work, which I think this look fits perfectly with the bow tie.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
So,
and I think, as I mentioned before, closer crop, and I've been using a 1 or a 2, depending on how long I'm going to let it go. But it's just a little easier on the collars that I wear, because I was like a year ago when I had a pretty good sized beard. I mean, it just destroyed a few good shit of mine. But yeah, I just got to be able to control it.
Yeah, I could see you as one of those old school boxers, Hey, put them up. So, yeah, great call, Vinny P. There's nothing that could be more spot on. The mayor, Zachary Phillips, says nothing wrong with a good bath.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you, Zachary.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny, any gamers out there? Adam said, anybody get Doom Eternal today?
Oh, no.
I saw Joe Rogan had on one of his podcasts the creator of Doom Eternal, and they played a little bit. They didn't show it. What's up, Jody? And they showed the game, but I did not get it. For me, pretty much, and it's probably the same with you, Mayor, other than Pokemon and TMD, is if I have a video game, it's pretty much with my kids.
Yeah, they kind of steal the all. We even have a Switch and an Xbox One, and I should start signing out time on them. I don't get to play much, not at all, not unless I'm playing ball with whatever we're doing. And we have been doing a Minecraft with my brothers and his son. One brother has a son, and they're in North Carolina. It is kind of like the boys enjoy that. Of course, they aren't used to playing a game without a constant chat going, because Fortnite's kind of conditioned them. They want to be able to talk. So then I lose my phone too. So they put my phone on speaker and they take my video games, and the mayor just has to just sit back and take it, because what else are you going to do?
Right.
Or me, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, I saw that Joe Rogan. That game looks pretty good though.
It does.
Doom is vicious. That's a vicious game. I was old school Doom. One of the first. That's a long time ago when Doom first came out. But yeah, I love that game.
And that's what Joe Rogan said. The violence is like unparalleled, but there's no swearing. There's no sexual anything. He's like, you can play it with your kids. And the creator's like, I can play it with my kids. And Joe Rogan's like, so you'd be worrying about swearing and sexual content, but like ripping someone's heart out while they're alive doesn't worry you?
Wow. Holy cow.
Rob asked me where my brother's from. They live in Chapel Hill. He actually got his degree at Duke, but they moved over to Chapel Hill.
Thanks, Pete.
And that's where they are in North Carolina.
Man, that's like getting a degree from Michigan and moving to East Lansing.
Yep. It is. I think it's more family. From what he says, it's just a little more family, kind of more things for kids to do, parks, things like that in their area than where they were in Durham.
Yeah, I bet. All right. So this, I think, is a good segue into our first convo tonight. Our buddy Joshua Halverson from the Facebook group. If you guys aren't in our Facebook group, there's a link in the description. But Joshua says, so they're going to be starting online curriculum for the students here in Washington starting on Monday. So Mayor, do you want to take it and tell people where we've been at, kind of some news that came out today and what you see for the future, and then TMD and I will kind of piggyback off you from there.
So in Michigan, actually 1 week ago today, we were all kind of reeling. It was our first day off. We had a crazy night, Thursday night into Friday. We didn't know what was going to happen. Schools had tried to close. The health department had kind of weighed in and blocked them. And then our governor at 11 o'clock announced that schools would be closed the following week. So we went to sleep thinking we were going in on Friday on Thursday night. And I know that the three of us were going in, but as we learned more and more and more about coronavirus, we questioned that. It was kind of a weird time. But as a teacher, if you don't go in and don't show up, you've got a bit who's there to be with the kids. So what we kind of were thrown into through nobody's fault, just the nature of this, is kind of a choose your own adventure in education. They want us trying to provide supplemental, which means not necessarily, not direct curriculum, like things that they couldn't be really duplicated outside the classroom, but they want us to have a contact with the kids. They want us to try and be having, if nothing else, that dialogue and on topic discussions and learning. So we've all kind of gone our own way with that a little bit. And we have, I think for the most part, one of our teachers started a new YouTube channel. She's doing just like science demonstrations. That's pretty awesome. I kind of already had a format in my class with Google Classroom. Lead that up till today, where nobody really knows what's going to count, what's not going to count. And we find that now our Department of Education kind of announced, well, we're not counting any curriculum, any kind of online curriculum. It's not counting. And looking a little more deep into it, there's some more factors into why they made that statement. But I know that a lot of people took that kind of hard, just like, what do you mean? Like, what are we going to do?
Yeah. And what do you think the factors are? Because I think that's important.
I think that it's just part of the process of gaining people's attention and getting them aware of that. According to law, we can't count these things as credit for school. And so we have to follow the law. The law is the only one, wink, wink, the law can change it. Like our Congress, our state senators, our state representatives, our governor possibly, that can weigh in on getting us in shape or moving forward. And I think that's good. But, when we get down to it too, my biggest concern is, where people are health-wise.
Yeah. And I think a lot of this is important because right now, as the mayor said, we're at a point where we are not sure what we can do, what we should do, because our school cannot give us any directives because of this law, right? They can't tell us move forward with content if these days aren't counting, right? On a snow day, you can't tell kids, hey, work at home, do this stuff. And this would be no different if those days didn't count. So I think what it is kind of leverage to the governor to be able to say, hey, all right, fine, we're going to step in state of emergency for this purpose. These days are going to be waived as long as you have the online curriculum. And our school district has a little advantage because we are one-to-one with devices. Every single one of our students has a Chromebook. So they're able to work online, and they have a plan for any students that don't have the internet. They'll be delivering paper materials for them. They have that all covered. And so we're just kind of waiting on the call to be able to say, yes, these grades count. Yes, move forward in your content. We also found out today officially standardized testing was waived, so we don't have to think about that. But there are a lot of questions that are out there. For example, somebody asked us, what about the seniors in high school right now? This is unprecedented. We don't know, right? College acceptance is a big deal. So we're not exactly sure what's going to happen. And that's what we kind of got to be fluid with. And we got to understand that we're going to get new information likely every day. We've been receiving information from our top administration, and we're in a big school district, probably 3 to 4 emails a day. So it's just moving as it goes. And I'll kick it to TMD to start with this question, and then TMD piggyback with all of your thoughts that you have there. So how many students do you have? So I don't know if you want to cover like how many we have personally, then maybe our school into that.
I mean, we teach at the middle school level 5 classes, and we have on average 25, 30 kids or more in every class. So I've got about 135 kids, I guess. And so, and we've been talking back and forth this week, as we send out our material, our superintendent explicitly stated that none of these grades are going to be going in the grade book. You're trying to give kids, a learning experience at home. And parents have really, they paid close attention to that, and so did kids, I think. And so the stuff we're sending out, we're not getting a lot of buy-in on it. I was telling these guys, I've got, I sent out an assignment and 50% of them about did it. And I'm pleased with that. I'm totally fine with that.
That's better than average.
Yeah.
Better
Ideally,
than
I'd love to have more, but I'm cool with that. So, but I think as Dan said, we're going to, once they pull the trigger on making it count, then parents and kids will come into it a little bit tougher, a little stronger. But right now it's, we're all just trying new things. And as the mayor said, we've got a lot of us, because we have Chromebooks, we kind of have little things that we already do in our classes, but some of us have had to, really step up our game, which is, it's okay. I'm learning. A couple guys, I think the mayor mentioned it too. One gal just started her own YouTube channel, and it's great. It's fun. But I think once she starts to really dig into the teaching aspect of it and actually, having to then come back and assess them, that'll be the interesting part.
Yeah. And Adam put a message right here. Sam and I had this conversation in the car today, and he said, it's really, really crazy. So many branches in society and institutions are so impacted by all of this. Unprecedented, right? We hear about national and worldwide disasters all the time. Hurricanes devastating the southern coast, tornadoes ripping through Nashville, earthquakes tearing up California. This touches every single corner of our country and arguably the world, but for sure our country. There's nobody that can sit back and say, oh man, I'm glad I'm over here, because you are impacted in some way. Even if you don't, again, we're not here to debate anything. Even if you're not buying into anything, nothing's changing in your life, the economy's on the line. The way that schools function forever is on the line. Like this impacts everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the funny thing too, is I followed it for a while building up to this, and it's amazing once the pandemic gets in your neighborhood, how much you stop. I mean, I'm still looking at Italy, obviously, and considering and looking at China, but it's amazing once you are the news, you have a whole nother world of things to consider. There's what you read about, and then there's what's happening, and this is happening, and it is. I'm sure it's not easy for me. It's not easy for a lot of us, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's wild. Jody W says, I can almost guarantee none of us have ever experienced anything like this in our lifetimes. And that's a fact. I think people like to compare it to the Spanish flu of 1918. And it's almost uncomparable because of how different society is, how much more connected we are, how much more in touch we are, right? Everything 100 years ago, life was different. Now it is social, it's gathering, it's big crowds. The population is so much more vast. So there's absolutely nothing that we can even begin to scrape the surface of. And as Adam said, the impacting the lessons and the impact is going to be vast. I have a feeling a lot of companies are going to realize, hey, we don't actually need this much infrastructure. Our employees can do just as good of a job and sometimes a better job while working at home. We don't have to pay for this office. We don't have to pay for this. Education is going to be looked at differently. There's a lot that is that's changing, man. It's crazy.
Shout out to the wife of the mayor there. I see she popped in.
Yeah.
She likes the beard stash as long as she doesn't like it too much.
So yeah. So TMD, what are as we look forward, next week is our last official week out of school, right? The following week is spring break, so that doesn't count. Looking at next week and beyond, what is your prediction on what's going to happen? Are we going to be expected to have curriculum next week with that big announcement today? Are you thinking we're going to be back after spring break, or what do you think?
I really think that things are going to be, chugging along just the way they are right now, with people, doing some different things. I feel like I'm learning a lot from my colleagues. I mean, I can do a few things here and there, but just watching what some people are doing are giving me some great ideas. I'm hoping to put a few of those things into play next week. But I think think this is going to go longer than the break. I mean, I really do. And I think Doug mentioned it earlier on that next week we may see some legislation. The governor, I think, is going to step up. You know, I like Whitmer. I think she's doing a heck of a job. But I think we're going to see something happen next week, and then the district's just going to have to put it all, you know, out there as online curriculum. I mean, I do feel bad for some of the kids. I feel bad for seniors. But if we can pull something together, I mean, we're already, you know, really give or take 2/3, almost 3/4 of the way through the school year anyways. We can finish this out. As long as we can get into the summer, you know, put something together and then try to start fresh next year. Because we still have something left to salvage.
Yeah, agreed. Mayor, what do you think on next week and beyond? What are we looking at with school, particularly our boss, particularly?
I think that it is. I'll be real with you guys. I think it's really good to talk about this stuff yet, but I don't think it's happened yet. I think when the family member starts getting sick, I'm scared to say it, but I feel like we aren't. I don't see us going back at the end, you know, beginning of April, because this is like still happening, if that makes sense. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how big, how real, how crazy it's going to get. We don't know if the measures that we're taking are going to pay off. And I would love to think about school, but my heart tells me that we have some really hard times to face before we can even think about going back. You look at the 1912 or 1918 flu epidemic. There were three waves of it. You had cities that were lifting their quarantines early, too early in some cases, and had to bring them back. So I just, you know, we want to talk about unprecedented, crazy, and I, you know, if all we're worrying about next week is the getting back to school, I think we'll be doing awesome, and I hope that's the case.
Yeah, I agree completely. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that they need to make the call sooner rather than later, so there's no gray area, right? Us three, we're going to continue on no matter what. If they tell us, hey, these weeks don't work, these weeks don't count, we're still putting out content. We care about our students. We're still going to make it happen. But just like any work, there's going to be people that are not. If they say, hey, these weeks don't count, there are going to be people packing it in, including teachers, parents, and students. We need all three on board. And if we had a strong statement that say, hey, online learning, supplemental learning, remote learning is going to count if it's done properly, that'll get everybody on board. We make that clear statement. Hey, these grades count. This work matters. Hop on. Let's make it happen. So that's what my hope is that we have a strong statement that comes out and just simply makes it happen there. And we had a couple people that popped in late here, and we're gonna have people coming in all night. We don't have any agenda, any time limit, any bedtime like that, guys. So real quick, a recap. This is our buddy TMD over here. Over here. Yep. And TMD is rocking that beard stash. He's had many different styles. We all teach together. TMD is a social studies teacher. He's taught in the technology side of things. He's really got a wealth of experience. TMD, do you want to tell everybody knows the mayor's story? They know way too much about the mayor and his bath time rituals and some like childhood things we should have never heard about. But do you you want to give a brief rundown about you, your family, your life, anything that you feel comfortable telling the people about, Mr. TMD, aka Todd?
Sure. Hey, thanks, Gary. That was awesome. But yeah, I'm as Dan said, I teach with these guys, 6th grade social studies. You know, I have a good time with it. Sometimes the kids don't necessarily like it as much as I would like them to, but we do geography, cultures of the world, kind of set the stage for Dan to take them to 7th and 8th grade. But yeah, I enjoy it. I've got 2 kids myself. I was just telling these guys before the stream started, you know, they're not liking lockdown. They're not liking it at all. And it's tough. I mean, right now with all the, you know, radical change of the world, my fiance lives on the other side of the country. And I know that's kind of wild and weird. But she lives in California, right in Silicon Valley. You know, San Francisco area. And so she's been on lockdown for, well, yesterday they announced it, but it's tough over there. And she was just telling me yesterday, her ex-husband just gave her a call last night and said that his fiance has the virus, and the kids just got back from their dad's house, and they're there now, and everybody is probably exposed, and they're just kind of waiting it out and trying to see what kind of symptoms they get. But that's, and I think we're going to start to see that. It's going to be, someone close to us is it's either going to hit us or it's going to hit somebody close to us. And then you're just going to see some reality with it. I think a lot of people are still kind of, nah, it's just not that big of a deal, or, we'll ride this out. But I think once it starts to hit home a little bit, then it's going to become a little bit more real. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my shortened version, I think, of, my life, I guess, teaching and, my relationships, my kids. I don't know if that kind of brings you a little bit up to speed with me.
Yeah. And I think to stick on something here, this is, in whatever you feel comfortable sharing with, your fiance, her ex-husband, they are no longer together. They have kids together. Her kids were staying with her ex-husband and his wife, or is it girlfriend?
Fiance.
Girlfriend, okay. And her ex-husband, the father of her children, tested positive for coronavirus. Right?
Yeah. And so
wow.
When her last night, she goes, I got some bad news. And I said, whoa, I'm thinking she's going to tell me, that she got it, or maybe, somebody close in her family, but heck, it's, that's as close as it gets. And, her daughter is feeling a little sick. So they're just kind of watching her. So she called the hospital, and they took all kinds of information, because they're trying to track it. They want to make sure they keep tabs, where it's going to go. But there wasn't, they said, because she said, well, can I bring my kids up and have them tested right now? And they said, no, we don't have enough tests.
Wow.
But, we'll take your information down, keep monitoring the kids. And if it gets, more severe, bring them in. But at this point right now, you're just kind of in a holding pattern. So, yeah.
And I don't know if people have seen, but South Korea's numbers have drastically fallen off. They went from a peak of crazy numbers just 2 weeks ago to very, very low numbers. And they don't even have a quarantine right now. They are open, and they attribute their success to having extensive testing. It was something like per million people, they had 2,500 tests per million people, and the US has 74. And so for something like that, where you bring people in and you say, my family member has the coronavirus, can we get tested? And they say, we don't have it for that. Oh man, they send you that. That's right. Crippling. That's crazy to think about. And I know they're working on it. I know they're doing their best. I do not doubt that absolutely one bit. But man, oh man, would that help if we got some accurate and available testing.
Right.
Hey, Dan, did you see Filippo from last week is in there from Italy?
Oh, is he in here right now?
Yeah, he made a comment to say.
Okay, yeah. I'm frozen on a couple back comments that we'll get to real quickly here. But Josh Halverson says, would you continue to teach if they made it where you were online only from here out, like forever? Josh, I don't think that's possible. We have way too much infrastructure in schools, and I think teaching needs that human quality. I think we need social skills. I think we need a teacher to motivate. There's a lot of great things you can do online, but I think online is a supplement. I think online is a bridge. There's a lot of things. I'm a teacher of people, man. I love being online, but a part of me would be missing if I wasn't able to razz a student in the classroom or be able to show off projects and stuff. And I know that probably speaks for both of you guys too.
And my eldest kid, my daughter, Bella, absolutely loved Mr. Command's class. And she had him for 2 years, and it's one of her favorite teachers. And he really prepped her for high school. She still looks fondly back at his class. So yeah, I mean, that kind of experience is so valuable. And I've got a bunch of kids who absolutely love the mayor's class. I mean, some of my kids, and he's got some awesome kids in there, and those are two of the finest right there.
Thank you. And obviously, right back at TMD. Rob Locke says, "Are you doing Google Classroom assignments?" So we don't have anything structured that we have to do because every kind of department has their own thing. I'm personally not using Google Classrooms. I'm using another learning management system, and then I use our online textbook, which is phenomenal. Mayor, I know what you're doing, but you want to touch on it?
Yeah, I am using Google Classrooms. I just post a quick hitter science 8th grade topic question, 10-minute, 15 minutes worth of work. The kids send it back to me, and I can give them a little feedback on it. And it's working pretty nice for their 30. Maybe I'm up to about 40% participation. I sent a reminder out to the parents and all that. But yeah, we've used that to enter like science journals even in the classroom during the year. So it was a pretty easy transition.
Good. TMD, what are you doing?
We also use in our team Google Classroom. Our math teacher wasn't because she, math is math and you just don't really need to, but it's a good vehicle for sending out information, sending out assignments. It's a great vehicle for that. We're going to use, hopefully at least that's our plan anyways. We got to work out some details this weekend, but our plan is we have like an agenda, like a Google Doc we give kids, and we send that out to parents, and we're going to use a kind of a schedule of sorts, hopefully on Monday. Our plan anyways, it's kind of in the works. Each of us is going to take on about a half hour of instruction. And so let's say I'm from 10:30, and I'll be, at least my plan is right now, tentatively, is to teach the kids a little bit about Europe and Russia, and I'm going to try to do a little mapping lab with it. I'm going to highlight some of the physical features of that particular area of the world, and I'm going to have the kids do an activity afterwards, and hopefully it'll be about a half hour. Give them a couple of minute break, and then we'll dive right into math or science or what have you. But it's gone. We're going to just use the Google Doc as our kind of planner schedule, and then we'll have kids jump from that to the Google Classroom, where we'll use that as our vehicle for delivery. But that's the plan anyways. But we're dabbling with like Zoom and Loom and some other online tools. But there's been a few other teachers, as I mentioned earlier on, that are doing some amazing things, and they're kind of, paving the way, I think. So yeah, we're trying some different stuff. It's fun.
Mary, you want to touch on this message from our buddy from Italy real quick?
So last Friday, we kind of did an impromptu. It was our first impromptu COVID-19, kind of just got together, started talking about it. And Filippo kind of sobered us a little bit. We asked him how it was, and if you're out there, just update us on how we know what we see in the news is not good. But he shared with us today. He says, "Hi everyone from Italy. It's tough it's tough. The fear here runs and came like a sandman inside everyone here. We will win together. Stay strong, and good luck, my friends." I'm sure it's terrifying. It's pretty terrifying here too, and that's because we don't know what's going to come. And I know for us, we have we're making these big changes, but I really hope everybody realizes that these changes, we won't, first of all, see any kind of positive number decline. The numbers are going to multiply. They're going to be like by factors of 10, each day as we start to test more. But we won't know if we've done anything as we look at that curve, and for at least another week or so. And it's going to get, the thing that I try to tell the kids is losing school was not what's happened. What's happened is it hasn't even hit us yet. And then you think about your loved ones and your family members and all that. So that fear is real too for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, my buddy, the company to be named later, great channel on YouTube, says, guys, I'm sorry I got here late. Is the murder mitten under a stay in place order? TMD, you want to hit down the rundown for what's going on in Michigan right now?
Not yet. The governor keeps getting that question put to her, and she said, nope, not yet. Or at least she doesn't even say not yet. She just says that is not on our radar. She is, I guess we're just kind of in this phase right now, as the mayor alluded to, where numbers are going to climb. I think we got 3 deaths, sadly, in the state. but we've got, I know I checked last night. I haven't checked the numbers today on how many we have, but it went up from 80 like 2 nights ago to 300 and something. And again, they're just going to exponentially go up. And at this point, the governor is we're going to fight it just the way we are fighting it. So we'll see. I think things are going to change, rapidly changing scenario right now.
Yeah, and so my thing is, we do not have an official stay in place order, but if we did, like California, there's not much that actually changes. Our restaurants are closed. Nobody can go into a restaurant. You can get takeout. Our bars are closed. Our theaters are closed. Our gyms are closed. Our schools are closed. Our barbershops are now closed officially. There's really not much that would change. Our GM plants are now shutting down where it's voluntary workers. People can go in if they want to. So if they did the switch, there's more formalities there. There's more funding that can be allocated for different places. But we really are, I mean, for the most part, shut down, right? If they do the stay in place order, grocery stores are still open, banks are still open. I just got a message from my bank that said, try to use the drive-through. We're going to limit the amount of people that can come in. We're going to do this, all that stuff. So I think we are about as far can go, right? They're not going to ever get to a point where they can tell you can't go to the grocery store, you can't go to the pharmacy, the essentials. Is there anything else that we have that could be shut down that's not?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
The thing with California too, a lot of people miss is California is a social contract. It's not enforceable by law. If they're telling you to stay in, people think like you get pulled over by the police and you got to show where you're going and stuff. It's just a social contract. It's more so about verifying what businesses can and cannot do. So if a restaurant is disobeying that, then they can be dealt with. But for the people, I mean, we're essentially at the same spot that California is.
Yeah, I was listening to a story today on how Singapore, which they're not, it's not too bad in Singapore right now, but of course that's more of a, an authoritarian place to live. But right now, if you have the virus, you are pretty much locked in your home at this point. They make you call 3 times to check in, like at different times during the day, and then people are pretty much, I think they track your phone, but they're pretty strict, in that area. And they're, really controlling it. But they mentioned, because the guy said, well, what gave you the how come you're so on top of this? And they just said, well, we had some, situations where SARS hit us pretty hard. And so we were prepped for that. And there was maybe one other virus that kind of rolled through there. And so, they're living in a part of the world where the population density is just so, amazingly high. And so when you've got that many people, shoulder to shoulder, you've got to do something. And that's why I think New York, that they had to. I mean, it's impossible. I think as their mayor said, it's impossible for us to have, a 6 feet, distance from social distancing from anybody, in this city. I mean, it's crazy impossible. So they had to do some locking,
for sure. For sure. And as Chris said, he said, I wish the news would stop spreading fear, and definitely not going down that rabbit hole of being negative, but he's right. I mean, the news is about getting clicks, right? That's how we're structured today, and fear is going to drive clicks. So they do that. But he also says on there, we'll be okay. I agree. And some things will change short term, but we'll be okay. The only thing I would edit on that and disagree is I think there are going to be many things that change long term, like actually change, and it's hopefully for the better, right? Last week I compared it in several ways to 9/11. Our country and our world will never be the same since 9/11. Many things change, whether it's airport security, whether it's parenting, all those things. We're going to have a lot that changes with travel. We're going to have a lot that changes with being prepared for pandemics, that change with how hospitals work, how these systems work. One of the things that works really well for Singapore and other countries like South Korea is they have less red tape. They have less hurdles they have to go through to get something done. In Singapore, if they want something done, it's done like that. And so that is a big advantage. In the US, it rolls through much slower because of our system and our constitution. which is good. We want that, right? But on those smaller countries, those smaller governments, they have a little bit more leeway to be able to make some big sweeping changes there. All right, Mayor, your buddy's back. If you want to take his comment here and kind of go on there.
Just for those of you that just started, this is our guy Filippo from Italy saying all I can say is that everything is invisible and extremely fast. Today you walk happily, tomorrow you are in a nightmare. It's amazing how fast everything around you changes. I was telling Betsy, I feel like sometimes if I let myself and I let myself get wrapped up in it. Yeah, there are some times through the last 7 days that it's felt like a waking nightmare where every moment, every notification on your phone is another thing that you've never seen happen or never thought would happen as far as prevention. And at least it's prevention. If that's going to be, maybe that'll be the worst part of it. If that is, so be it. Let's prevent, let's overreact, and have it look back and be like, that was nothing. I don't know that that's going to be the case, but yeah, this whole last week has been like a nightmare, a waking nightmare here and there. You wake up and you hope you're going to look at my father-in-law said, you hope they're going to have something. They're going to have an answer, have a foothold on something, an idea, something that's working. And we're waking up and that's not the case. We're waking up to harder facts.
Yeah. Don says, many employees will no longer be able to say employees can't work from home. That's what I mentioned earlier, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. The way business is going to be conducted in this country will change. Not for everybody, not for every business, but for many, they will see that it changes, and it's because of this. There will be many people that are actually better at their jobs from home. Right? We get stuck in ways because that's the way it's always happened, right? I teach about different economic systems. One of the only economic systems that doesn't really exist in the world anymore is the traditional system, which used to be the only way you ran the economy. And the reason why you ran the way you did is because that's the way it's always been done. Well, that's an awful reason to do anything. You don't do things because that's the way you've always done them. So this, in a lot of ways, is going to shake people up, make them question, make them look. And one of the things that people are bringing up is handshaking, right? And they're saying we should get rid of handshaking. That's one. I know there should be benefits there. I just don't see it happening. Me, myself, man, that would tear up a part of my soul. I think it's very respectful, very, very manly, very American to shake hands. And I know many cultures like Japan, they bow. Other cultures have different things they do. And that is 100% safer, 100% better. But it would be, I feel like a piece of me would be missing. I value a good handshake, looking someone in the eye. Man, that would hurt me.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe the mayor's spit handshake can go, I don't know.
Not the blood pack.
Spitting in front of my hand. I think that's why you left me here at home today.
Yeah.
Too many spit handshakes.
Ryan says, thoughts on the Olympics canceled or postponed? I don't think there's any question. That's trapped on an island in Japan. That sucker is getting postponed or canceled. There's no way they continue with the Olympics as
People
scheduled.
from all over the world. I think that's a postponement. I mean, they may be in the pool when it's a little cold outside, but I think people when we get through this, we'll need that. But yeah, people coming from all over the world to a small island, not a good idea right now.
Right.
Yeah, and the only way to travel on that island is mass transportation.
Mm-hmm.
There's no cars. I mean, there's no way. So, Beard Octane Joe, hello, buddy. He said they may be move us to 12-hour shifts. Fingers crossed. Take time to focus on what's important in life. Spend that time with your family. Hunker down. We'll get through this, right? And the internet's filled with memes, right? This is the first time in history that we've been asked to stay at home and save the world. And man, like, I could think of many worse things to do spending the day than with my family. Like if that's what I'm being asked to do, not go out to eat, which we love, not go to the zoo, which we do every weekend and we love, not go to these public theaters that we love. I'm okay. Like that's all right with me. We did craft time today. We did scheduled Lego time. We had a wrestling hour. We scheduled a time. I told the boys, you have to wait till this time, then we can wrestle. And yeah, it just makes you evaluate stuff. And I, for one, have with a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and then whatever, how old she is, couple months, 2-month old. Man, I'm just soaking it all in. I am ready for it 100%, and just doing my part. So yes. Mr. Pizza Face says, Dan C, you continue to project utter calmness and confidence. Thank you. And TMD and the American can back this up. This is just who I am, sometimes probably to a fault, right? The mayor's the info guy. The mayor's going to be the one that's on the edge. I'm going to be the one that's like, we're all right. Like, and it's kind of held through, and I come around to some of his points in the end, and I think he comes back to some of mine. And then I think you have TMD in the middle. That's just kind of with us.
The whole thing. There is no right way to handle it, but I definitely benefit from Dan, from my wife Betsy. She's a good calming influence. I'll get myself real wound up real fast if I get into that spiral of thinking and focusing on how do I feel? Do I not feel good? What's wrong with me? All that stuff. Am I worried I'm going to infect my parents? You hate that, but it's almost like a perfect thing. Like it's an invisible, thing that you don't know you have for so long. That it is the thing of nightmares. To think you give that to a more at-risk loved one. Geez, there's just so many layers to it.
Yeah, 100%. And Fat Bearded Guy says, I'm loving this time with my wife and sons, although I'm definitely not the best homeschool teacher. We are all teachers. I've been teaching for 10 years. The mayor's been teaching for almost 20 years. TMD, where are you at? You're in the 20s.
I'm 20.
Okay, 20. And so
get my 20 in next year.
Okay, and we've all been doing this for a while now, and I think we could unanimously agree we are not good at homeschool teachers.
No, it's tough. It was I had to kind of get after my kids a little bit here the last day or two, and I just said, what are you doing? And they're just, if you can't, I mean, not to pick on anybody because I'm, like you said, I mean, we're all teachers, but if you don't set up some kind of schedule with them, they're just gonna while away the day like if they don't have a schedule. The schedules are good. And I think when I hear what you said, Dan, we're going to do it at this time, we're going to have wrestling at this time, or and make it fun. Tell them, okay, we're going to take a walk at 10 o'clock, or we're going to go do this. And it doesn't have to be the zoo. I mean, we'd all love to go to the zoo,
right?
I mean, you take a trip to whatever, go see a park or something like that, take a walk around and find some animals in the park. In any, I think, try to keep them on a schedule. And my kids, I gotta get them back on a schedule next week for sure. We're going to talk about it this weekend. They were at their mom's. I'm not blaming her in any way, but you gotta, especially because I've got a middle schooler and a high schooler, and they kind of while away the hours. And quite frankly, I can while away hours too. I mean, it's
and we're all used to schedules. Even my family is used to dropping Maddox off, and so something that was unique and a new challenge is snacks. My boys asking for snacks all day long. Well, they're used to having a schedule. You can have a snack after breakfast before we take you to school. Then you can have one after nap after school. But now it all kind of blends together. So I've had to schedule snacks. Like, no. Once that clock hits 11, then you can have a snack. And so, yeah, man, that schedule is really, really important there. And I know the mayor's been doing a good job with his sons of working on stuff.
I'm really not the mayor here at home.
Okay.
I thank Betsy for that. She whipped out the I don't know, every half hour there's something on the closet, the upstairs closet door, and we use it as a guideline, but it's good to kind of be able to say, go look at the schedule when the kids want to do something else. And they've been pretty good. We knew from the beginning we couldn't start the day with running down the basement and playing Fortnite, because it was once they go to that gaming or whatever, it's really hard to get them back. So we set some of those guidelines up there, and that's so that's not where we're starting our day, and we're doing okay so far. It's gonna get harder, but as far as keeping them in that routine. But I think, again, we're pretty lucky with elementary age. I could see anybody that has keys to a car or is used to that independent freedom being the biggest struggle, trying to convince them to do this, to adhere to what they're asking.
Yeah. And thank you, Gary, for that. I'll definitely get them some snacks. My boys know Gary, so I'll let them know on the next one's on G. But Nick says, I hope this at least motivates people to wash their hands. I think that is huge, man. The percent of people that did not wash their hands properly is astounding. And I will admit, I did not start washing my hands properly until probably the last 2 or 3 years, solely because of my beard. When I realized what you would be putting in your beard if you had dirty hands and you were touching your beard, if you were putting products into your beard, I changed my habits just like everything else. My water intake, my washing of my hands, my food, my diet, because of my beard, and washing my hands had done that as well. But how many people in this last 2 weeks learned how long you should wash your hands? How many people have learned that you should use soap, that sanitizer is no good after 3 times using it? You need to have 60% alcohol in sanitizer. I mean, a lot of people got a really big education on washing your hands.
Yeah, what is it, 20 seconds or say the
20 seconds, yep.
Yeah.
20 seconds. The temperature does not matter. That's one that Leo in here called me out on my last video, and he was like, I have not heard that. I heard hot water was better. Then he came back the next day, was like, oh, I read that CDC article. You're right. The CDC says whatever you're comfortable with, it doesn't matter. And I actually learned that from my doctor. When I split my thumb open, I had to run it under water for 5 minutes. And he was like, it doesn't actually make any difference on how it what the temperature is. You just need it to be comfortable. And so whatever's going to help you wash your hands. I like mine a little bit hotter. For me, that's just what I like when I wash my hands. Vinny P's out of here later. Vinny P.
See you, Vinny.
So yeah, that's for me. I think I'm excited for how many people are going to start washing their hands properly. And then that's huge, especially our students, because they're nasty.
So Josh asked me earlier, he asked where the mayor come from, and then he complimented the coloring my beard, so that I decided I could answer that question now.
Yeah, hit him while I get my
me up a little bit. The mayor is kind of just, I don't know, my Pokemon Go guy. When we started playing, we had said earlier that we were doing that. Kind of got to be friends with Pokemon Go. So I paid up like maybe like $4 real for this mayor's hat and gear, and then I declared, I said I'm the mayor, I elected myself as the mayor, and
I think it was
just went with it.
Didn't Dan give you that name? It seems like he started calling you that.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he
saw
just started
the hat and all that, and the
and you seem to have, I mean, to kind of for that. You just seem to have, I don't know, you have a level of inside knowledge and control. You just seem, you're very, very statesman-like and mayorly. I guess that's an adjective, but yeah, I don't know, it fits. It fits.
Oh, well, I'll take that. Maybe I'm just a know-it-all, but whatever. Or I like to hear myself talk, but we all have our moments. But yeah, so that's where that came from. It's just kind of a nickname, really.
Like, just to give you a little scoop, like on days where we start getting a lot of snow and maybe starting to ice up, we usually hit up the mayor for a percentage, and he's usually really good. If he gives us, he'll say, guys, at 85%, we start feeling pretty good. I mean, almost to a point where I'm going to turn my alarm off.
You're not going to set those clothes out, right?
I'm not going to set the clothes out. But, and I might lowball it, or Dan might highball it, but the mayor's pretty good. The mayor's like right on. It's like he has an inside connection. It's like he's making the decision.
Oh, geez.
That is true. He'll come in, and then I'm an all-in guy, as everybody knows on this channel. I'm like, no, 100%. And TMB's like, I'm edging around 20. I think about
And then the mayor will
That kind of
you know, he'll say, okay, well, it depends on this, you know, and okay. And
Yep.
then that happens and boom, we got it, or we don't.
Yeah, I get asked this all the time. Nick Bird says, I think a large amount of subscribers think you are legitimately a mayor.
Maybe someday. You never know.
Oh, I speak it into existence.
Right.
I'd vote
No,
for
for sure. People are like, how did you get your mayor of your city on the stream with you?
Yeah. That hey, you never know where it's gonna go. I don't mind it.
Wamba Hollow.
I've had worse nicknames too, so
Yeah.
I'll take this one.
I don't know how you're not wearing that hat right now, though.
It doesn't fit in the frame. If you guys are gonna hear me, see, because you don't hear me so well.
Doug wants you to press. Oh, there you go.
Oh, it fits. That was an excuse.
Abe Lincoln. Doug wants you for president.
Yep.
I've got to. You guys know, you've heard the term "mad as a hatter." That was from back in the day when they would use mercury to stiffen the hats, and somebody figured out, everybody that makes hats is like nuts. Well, they were like poisoning themselves. My dad was telling me the other day about how they used to have mercury in their hand in class and how cool it is, and how it has such a liquid metal at room temperature, but it's super poisonous.
Funny you should say that, because I listened to a podcast on that very same thing here.
Same. I listened to that same podcast on that, and then I listened to one on the Radium Girls. Do you know that one?
Radium City, where they used to paint the dials of the clocks.
Yes. And the girls started so radium was this new thing that was like it would paint the dials of clocks because it would glow in the dark. And the military first used it because they could have it. And then it was seen as this really expensive thing that you could have. Well, they hired all girls. It was kind of like the Lowell Mill girls, and they hired girls to do this. And the girls started glowing, and they'd go out at night and people be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then they all started losing weight. They were losing their hair. And it got real freaky when they told a story. One girl was walking, because they lived in these boarding camps for factories. This girl walked by and she had lost so much weight, and the radium had got into her bones that they could see her spine glowing from within.
Wow. Well, and they there's a documentary, and I've looked for it for years, and I believe HBO put it out, called Radium City, and I believe you can actually still go and with a Geiger counter and walk over their graves, and sets them off. Yeah,
wild,
crazy.
Yeah, Leo says barbers used to be physicians. Well, blood letters anyway, red and white barber poles. Yeah, so still to this day, the barbers need to have more hours of training than anything other than the medical occupation. They get more hours of training than many degrees of nurses, because they have a blade close. They have the ability to have a blade close to the throat.
Wow.
In many states, the barbers have to have more hours of training than paramedics and EMTs. Yeah. It's a wild thing. But yeah, the Radium Girls, I could go on about stuff about that all day. All that stuff from back then, and Egyptian pharaohs that thought they found the fountain of youth by taking mercury pills, or having a mercury river running through their pyramids and stuff. History, that's why I love history, man. History is crazy. And then the crazy thing is to think about how this plays out, and then how this is going to be taught. And it's going to be one of my favorite cities in America is Savannah, Georgia. So random history facts: Savannah is the very first planned city, meaning they had this open land. They went in and mapped it out where they wanted to put everything. Montgomery, I think, was the guy, General Montgomery, who put everything. That might be wrong. But they planned out the city. Well, it is considered the most haunted city in the world, because back in the day, they had yellow fever ran through Savannah, and 2/3 of the population died. Well, they ran out of graves to bury them in. So what they did is they took up all the roads, buried the bodies underneath the roads, paved the roads over it, and the graves are still there today. And that is true. It's not some crazy ghost story. It's actual history. And so it's considered It's considered the most haunted town in America, and we've been probably like 5 times. We randomly love it. We used to go every Thanksgiving for like 4 years in a row, and we've taken like haunted hearse tours. We've done really cool things there.
That sounds pretty fascinating. I don't have to make a trip out there.
Yeah,
it's on one of my. I gotta see that city. The Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil was the book, and then a movie about Savannah. It was pretty. It sold me.
The Spanish moss, the buildings, the architecture, the seafood. It is a beautiful, beautiful city, guys. And I learned about what Spanish moss was from Savannah, Georgia. Do you guys know what Spanish moss is?
No.
A kudzu, or is it different than kudzu that grows on like trees and stuff in the south?
It's similar, but I don't know if that's the name for it. But what I learned is that there's the main thing about Spanish moss that I learned is it is like living. There's so many little creatures and there's little like bugs that are in there. It's not just some harmless moss that's growing on trees, that it has living things in it that are not good for you.
No.
Which is crazy.
Which is the theme of tonight.
Yeah, right.
And the last week and last months for some.
Yeah. So Couple Chris says the bloodiest battle in the American soil. Yes. Nick says Savannah is so amazing. Love the creepy yet enchanting cobblestone pass with the Spanish moss. Yes, I agree. So anybody out there that's not been to Savannah, mark it up. You can go off the beaten path and go see some old plantation homes and stuff. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city, man. I really love it. If it's there, the air quality is good. That's a good call, Jody. It's almost like a litmus test of air quality, because you can't have Spanish moss if it's yeah. See, these guys know. Billy says Spanish moss, aka old man beard full of chiggers. True. Yeah, there's these little like creepers that grow that live in the Spanish moss. So yeah, it's wild. Next thing I want to talk about is what what do you think has been the biggest challenge for your family, right? We all have kids here. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. TMD, if you want to start it. Me and the mayor kind of talked about last week, but man, does a lot of change in a week here. But TMD, what do you think has been the biggest challenge for your family, especially your kids?
Just a shout out there to Leo. You mentioned something about geography, and yeah, I think Americans are pretty bad at it. And I try with my kids, my students at school, but it's tough. I mean, they're
terrible.
They really suck at it. Yeah, and they don't see the importance of it, even though I try my best to sell it. Yeah, we suck. But I guess getting back to my own family, yeah, we're struggling right now. I think it's just I've got both my kids are very different. One of my kids really likes to kind of stay. He's more of a homebody. He likes to just kind of hang out. I mean, he's got buddies, but it's pretty scheduled. But my eldest child, my daughter is real go. Just she does not sit still. She just can't stand to sit still, and so this is just killing her. And I think younger people, in general, they don't see the reality of this. They don't realize, because a lot of them will say, I'm young, this isn't going to hurt me. That's what they're saying. The least group to be affected. And I think somebody earlier on had said, we shouldn't be, it's more of a fearful thing, but there is something we do have to be more careful, and we can carry it. I mean, my kids, and that's partly why, I'm keeping as much as I can. And because they don't realize, that they're, they go out, visit with a couple of friends, and those friends have visited with people, and I have no idea who they've been with. And I'm taking precautions, but are the people that they're hanging out with taking precautions? You have to be careful nowadays. And I think earlier on in the stream, we talked about, I just talked to my fiance, and I have a long distance relationship going, and she lives in California, and I'm a teacher. So I do get to take, some breaks here and there. I get, a nice Christmas vacation. I get a nice summer. So I'm able to, go and visit her and see her, and she comes here quite a bit too. So because of that, we're keeping our relationship going. But I was talking to my fiance last night, and she said that her ex-husband just called and said, my fiance's got the virus, and just letting you know. And the kids had just arrived like 2 days prior, 3 days prior, and so here you've got a case right in the house. Kids were there. They spent the whole weekend, and now they're in her house, and so they live with her pretty much the whole time. But they spend the weekends with their dad, and they spent a long weekend right in a house with with somebody who has the virus. So now that's just how easy it spreads. And I think the fiance is a physical therapist. So she's deals with people. But at this point right now, that's partly why, certain occupations like that are hazardous. And she's probably 40 years old, but, it's going to knock her right out. And, her kids may get sick, but we don't know the severity. I mean, it can hit some people harder than others. So, and I'm trying to tell my kids that, and they listen to me, but I just don't think they're taking it serious yet. So, that's, I guess, at least as far as how it's impacting my own family. We're locking down the house, but it is really tough to do. There's only so much you can do. We played some games tonight. We had dinner. I tried to get them to stick with me a little bit longer, but they just want to go. So,
Yeah. Mayor, what about you? What do you think's been, even over the last week as it's developed, what's been the biggest challenge for your family?
Just to put it simply, the fact that there's no flipping to the end of the book, there's no fast forward button. I don't know what's having to have honest conversations about a pretty scary thing without being too scary, and that I don't know what's going to happen because it hasn't happened. Walking that line between protecting my kids but not lying to them, and where do I draw that line, and when do I get real with it, when do I kind of go around things? It's not something that we face a lot as parents, where we don't know how it ends. We haven't read to the end of the book yet because it's still happening. So it's so fluid right now. It really is challenging to know what to share with my kids and what not to.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing with me, with obviously Violet out of the play here, but Jackson Maddox being 4 and 2, turning 5 and 3 within the next month. So they're getting to that point where they communicate pretty well, they understand things, and for them to ask, "Hey, can we go to the zoo today?" and trying to explain to a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old why we can't go to the zoo, or why we're not going to their favorite Mexican restaurant, or just simple things that they're used to. It's not like, I'm not a person that's like, oh, it's a tough conversation for me. Like, I don't mind having that. That's just kind of how I am. But trying to explain it in a way that maybe it'll sink in a little bit with them. And it's very, very difficult to tell them, hey, a lot of people are sick. And I said, the restaurants are closed, the zoo are closed, a lot of people are sick. We're trying to make sure everyone is okay. And Maddox's response was, well, why doesn't everybody that's sick go to the hospital and we can all be okay? The doctor will fix them. And it's like, yeah, I mean, just kind of leave it at that. But that's a challenge, man. That's a challenge.
Another thing I'll just share with you guys, Mike, we've been watching my in-laws' dog for the last 3 weeks or whatever. They're on their way back from Florida, and they're in the high-risk age group. And so how do we get them their dog back when they come through? And how do we're at a point where we're kind of wait till they get close and put the dog and the carrier out in the driveway with their things, and we're gonna have to wave to them from the window. We haven't seen them in a month, but
yeah,
we're
that's horrible.
And Betsy and I having to have that discussion with them, and kind of be like, what are you comfortable with? Well, it worked out because they're kind of now they're more aware of the realness of things. But that's hard, very difficult.
Yeah, we had a birthday party scheduled for the boys. Their birthdays within a week or two of each other, so we always do like a joint birthday party. And we had to cancel it to my parents and my sisters who were planning on coming in from New York or from Chicago and DC, had everything all set. And we essentially had to just say like, hey, we're doing this for our safety. Um, it's not even going to be something we're going to discuss. The party's canceled. Like, we're sorry for any inconveniences, but we're doing what's right. My sister works for Northwestern Hospital. My other sister's a lawyer. And so they're still working. They're still interacting. And so we were like, no chance. My parents literally just got back from like St. Croix. They've been traveling everywhere for like a year. And so it wasn't a question. They all handled it amazing. They were like, oh yeah, we assume, no problem. Cool. But Sam's good friend had a birthday party scheduled. She canceled it, and the good friend's mom lost her cookies about it and was like, "This is a disgrace," and like lost her mind. And it's like, no, like, we're making this call for us. That's we're not considering that, and that's kind of the spot you're in, the mayor, where you made the call for safety, but it sounds like it was received really well, just like my family. But that's still not fun to do.
No.
Good night, Chris. Chris is dipping out.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, we're making left and right. We're making all sorts of decisions we never thought we would for this cause. But I really hope that there's a moment. I hope our country can like show how it's done, and
Yeah,
we can have success. And
I agree.
And that those numbers do fall off, and that lives are saved, because it's lives and it's people's loved ones that we're talking about here. And
right,
we're not being asked to. I think we said this last week. We're not being asked to enlist and go down and register to go fight across the world.
Yeah,
we're being asked to enjoy and be with our families and find a new way to live for a little while so that we can get through this. And I don't think that's too much to ask at all.
Agreed. And I think we will respond well. Chris is a perfect example that just left. Chris is a military veteran. He said with 9/11, he was like, I didn't worry about it. I just knew it was time to go to work. I knew it was time to defend our country. And that's what we do, right? Our country responds. You've never seen more American flags than September 12th, 2001. Right. We respond well. We step up. We make it happen. And I think it's going to happen here for sure. I have no doubts about that. I'm ready to make it happen. And there are a lot of tough situations, right? Our buddy Doug, I know Mayor's met Doug. I don't know if TMD has met Doug. Yeah. Yep. He came out once, met Doug. His wife is a nurse, and she's been working crazy hours. She worked with the first suspected coronavirus patient that within the last couple of days. They didn't even have enough masks for all the nurse to have their own, so they had to share masks while they were dealing with a coronavirus suspected patient. They had not tested positive yet because they didn't have the test yet. So there's a lot of situations like that. For me, like the overall, like when I hear about all these situations, my goodness gracious, am I lucky? Am I like fortunate? I don't have to worry too much about my income. I don't have to worry too much about my kids' education. I don't have to worry about keeping my kids active because they're at this age where they're going to find something at 2 and 4 anyway. We have food. I'm just very, very fortunate and trying to help out any way I can, even if it's something small like a live stream to get people's minds off of it and just, like I said, decompress, right? We're talking about it, but hopefully it's in a good, controlled environment where it happens, where we're able to make these great discussions and calls and help people out as we go through. So
that's what I told my kids too. Even though it's kind of a simple thing here, we decided we were going to do our or I was going to join your stream tonight and the mayor, in our separate households. I mean, I love being with you guys. I mean, it's just awesome. Whenever I'm hanging out with you guys, we used to play Pokemon Go, or when we used to, just hang out and take a stroll through Flint or whatever we did. I love hanging out with you guys. But this is good too. And this, I tried to convince my daughter. I said, I know you want to go over and hang out with your buddies, but FaceTime, do something, where you can just hang out and, play a game online or something like that. I mean, there's things you can do while we ride this out, and you really have to at this point.
Yeah. So there was a good question that was posed earlier that'll be more so for you guys and especially TMD. I'll give my little quick piece, hit it to the mayor, then TMD. Somebody asked, are the kids feeling the fear like we are? And for me, no, of course, my kids don't have the brain capacity to understand that. So no, not at all. But I would assume that the level of fear with kids all the way ranging up to 17, 18 would be far less, just because of how their life, their world is. But again, I don't have those kids. I'm not really interacting with my students about this right now. But Mayor has older kids than me, and then TMD has the oldest kids here. So Mayor, with your kid range in the like 8 to 11, 12 age, how are you thinking that they are? And take care, Leo. How is their level of fear? How is it?
Leo?
I would say Luke, who's in second grade, not much at all. He's pretty much he's in his summertime kind of coasting groove. He's good. For Owen, I took him out. We had like 4 days without leaving the house. I took him to get a shamrock shake, and he was sitting in the back seat and kind of started tearing up and saying, "When's this going to be over? How, what's going on? Why is it, so he feels that stress of just not this, it hits him in waves, just like us. It kind of washed over him in that moment. And you could tell it was a little bit of, he's kind of pretty tightly wound kid, but you could tell it was fear of the unknown, frustration with the unknown time frame. So he's getting it and feeling it, and but yeah, not so old that he feels like he's missing out on a ton of social things.
Yeah, yeah. TMD.
His son Owen is an old soul, man. He looks at the world through an old man's eyes, which is very different than I think a lot of kids these days. And I'm sure you guys have probably seen all the stuff, of spring breakers down in Florida and what have you. In fact, my sister, she lives out in Maine, and her husband just got back last week from a trip to Cabo. Luckily, they made it back in time, and they've closed the border now. But yeah, they said the people that were spring breaking down there at that time were on the same plane as they came, when they came back, just causing a ruckus. They actually had to land the plane in Houston. They just told me this story. Land the plane in Houston. They had to bring marshals on to get these people off. And even then, when the plane came on, they still were jawing back at them, saying, "You can't do this to us. You can't do this." They were drinking. They were vaping. These were young kids, spring breakers, with not a care in the world. I think that's kind of, somebody had said it earlier on, Americans, we kind of feel like we are the center of the world, and epitomizes that. I think once we get older, we start to realize, we calm down a little bit, but, but I don't want my kids to be like that. And I told my kids, I said, you're not that kid down in Florida right now who's, living to party right now. I mean, we're just trying to get through this, and there's going to be, when it's all said and done, life will be fine, but we're going to have to hunker down for a little while. So I don't know. There's a lot of bad stories out there of people being stupid, but hopefully there's some good, calm, cool heads that keep all, like our own children and family, calm down low.
Yeah. And hopefully people have something to dive into, whether it's their kids. For me, it's teaching, it's YouTube for sure. I'm able to really dive into YouTube more. I think everybody needs that outlet. Some parents need to give that outlet to their kids and maybe help lead them to that water. You can't make a horse drink the water, but you can put salt in the hay, right? Get them a little bit thirsty to find that thing for them. So that's a big one. But quick kind of segue with this and beards. So for me, if I leave the house, which has been pretty much daily, Sam really needs a Diet Coke each day right now. Otherwise she's getting headaches. And I think part of it's stress, and there's a lot going on. She's got postpartum and stuff, which her essentially just body's just trying to get back to normal. So she got all these crazy things going, and she just likes a Diet Coke. So I go to McDonald's and get her a Diet Coke. So my adjustment has been, if I leave the house, even if I just stay in my car, but yesterday I had to go to Walmart, as you guys know. If I leave the house, I am washing my beard. And so it's been pretty much daily for me. Kyle, she got Starbucks today. We went for a celebration drive. I got a Shamrock Shake. She got Starbucks. So we drove through downtown Flint and saw all the vacant buildings and stuff. We really enjoyed that. But my big adjustment, so my question to you is, have you guys adjusted with your beard at all in any ways? 2 ways for me is if I leave the house, I'm washing my beard. So that has been almost daily and far more often than I normally do. And then my second adjustment is I've been able to experiment a little bit more than I would normally. Normally, I'm teaching 5 days a week and I have to have my beard on point. And then I'm filming almost every other day. So I don't really have days that I can kind of mess with it because I'm like, if I try something, my beard's going to look like crap and I'm either going to look bad at school or I'm going to look bad on a YouTube video. Well, now I don't have to do that every day. So I've been able to kind of experiment, try this, try that. And for me, that's been wonderful. How about you, Mayor? Have you had any adjustments with your beard?
I'm hitting that wash every time I'm in that big bathtub. I didn't do it every time. Yeah, because before you don't want to dry it out or whatever, but I've got a couple different washes that I use, and I love that foamy feeling. Just feels like whatever's in there is getting out, and it's a no-brainer to do that. I wish I could get that foamy lather all over. Like I wish hand sanitizer felt like that sometimes because, it's a good feeling. Yeah, but definitely washing every day.
Yeah. And MC says, they say co-wash doesn't cut it. Well, they would be me. I was the one that said that. And that is true. Co-wash does not have the soap properties that beard wash does. And if you're trying to combat the virus, you need to attack the fat membrane. And soap does that. Conditioners do not. Conditioners will actually lock it in and make it more sticky and have a greater chance of keeping it and holding on to it rather than getting rid of it. So, that's a good one. What about you, TMD? Even with the beard stash, with the mustache, have you adjusted at all?
And mine is relatively new. I mean, you guys have, especially you, Dan, have a more established beard, and the mayor is going on since how long has it been?
Like 8 months, 9 months.
8 months. Yeah. So I think you guys, I think as you mentioned before, I'm pretty fickle with my beard. Sometimes it's there and sometimes it's gone. But I think, one of your last streams, or maybe it was one of your shows that you posted, you just mentioned the importance of washing your beard, and I use my beard octane wash, and I really lather it up as much as I can. I get right in there, with my mustache especially. It just feels so good just to kind of get it all good and clean.
Isn't that wash awesome?
It really is. Oh my God. It's just, and it just genuinely feels good afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's, I've got my little routine down. Every so often I got like a beard cream that you gave me to try, and I kind of like that. I don't use it, all that often, but every so often I'll put that in at night, and just wake up the next day. It feels just awesome. And I'll kind of wash it out, and then I love that feeling. And then I just kind of comb through with my my brush and take my comb and just kind of do my thing with it as I try to tame this thing. So yeah, it's getting there. I know Jake, uses more like a wax on his.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm going to go down that road. I guess his is much more controlled. It looks on him, but I'm kind of liking just my own little thing going. So
I agree 100%.
Routine. I guess that's my whole thing. And but I do wash, and I do like I went to the store, early this morning, and thankfully the mayor dropped off a couple of masks. And I thought I would see a lot more people with masks. Maybe 2-3 other people in the store were wearing masks. And, I had my mask on, and nobody really looked at me funny, but I did feel out of place with a mask on. So I'm not sure people are really taking it as serious, especially if you're in a store, you're walking around with a bunch of people. If somebody sneezes, and they've got it, we've all got it. So it's just, I think from what I'm hearing, that's how easy it spreads.
Well,
yeah, Nick, go ahead, Bear.
I think people, well, that's what the next thing is when do those masks become, uh,
Thanks, Nick.
as the numbers multiply, and hopefully they don't, but that's where, people, where's that tipping point where those masks are kind of like standard thing, and then it's not that you don't get that weird feeling in your your nervousness or that outline, do I make the decision that's going to help me feel a little better about my chances, or do I, but then I look like weird to everybody else? And where we draw those lines, there's so many things like that. I mean, within the next week or two, are we going to see being positive for COVID-19? There's kind of a stigma to it, but really, should there be? There's probably going to be so many people, especially in certain areas that are, that have it, that more, half and half. At some point, are we going to stop feeling like, what's that going to be like to share that information? If we look at ourselves and that was something that, we were diagnosed with, so much is going to change, with that, and like the face mask and all that.
Yeah. It's this week's going to tell a lot. That's for sure. Yeah. This week is 100%.
I was kind of hoping we could talk about what do we think. I think there are some positives with this, like society change, some culture. You guys have any idea? What are some things you think that when we all walk out on that spring morning, summer, May, whatever it is, and the restrictions are lifted, what are some positives that might come from what we're going through with this?
Yeah. So I'll touch on that. And also, Leo points out a good thing here. He said CDC says the masks work for people with symptoms, but it's pretty much a tradition with Asians. And that is because they've gone through so many things. But the CDC has clearly come out and said the mask is not a good preventer. So that's one thing to read on and look at, but it's more so for people that have it. They actually said that it can increase your chance of getting it if you're not wearing it properly, which most people are not wearing them properly or don't have the proper mask. And Leo's right. That was an actual article from the CDC. So, and some people don't believe that. They rock. That's cool, but it's an interesting read if you guys look into that. So just something to see there. But what has changed for the positive? Well, I think the view of stay-at-home moms and the view of teachers is going to change for the positive, right? People are going to realize that being a stay-at-home mom is not an easy task. It is a job. It is very, very draining, right? I would argue more draining than many careers, that a lot of people have careers to escape that. And parents are realizing, whoa, 6 hours of dialing in these kids and getting them to actually learn and do work, that isn't so easy. So for me, I think we're going to see some positive outlooks on areas that maybe didn't have that respect before.
Right. And I think I'd agree with you there too. I think we're going to see some teachers, exploring other avenues that they've never done before. I mean, we mentioned earlier on about a teacher who's starting to, get her YouTube channel going. And when I watched, her last YouTube video, I thought, man, that's wild. I knew she was kind of that kind of person, but I really didn't expect her to, put it together like that and really hit it out of the park as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed.
Yeah, she did a nice job, and I think that's really cool to see some people, doing some things they've never done before, and we're going to see some, I think education is going to get just revolutionized by this. And, at least, speaking kind of close to home, Doug mentioned it earlier, communication is really ramping up. I mean, we're all reaching out. I've got a grandfather who's 94 years old. He's a World War II vet, and I'm reaching out to him. I'm trying to say, and I wanted to go see him here last weekend, but I couldn't. Was going to go watch a movie with him, but obviously for his own safety, I'm not going to go visit him, but I still reach out and see how he's doing. And I think that's huge right now. I mean, we're talking to each other more, even if it is via phone.
Yeah. Great points, Mayor.
Only thing I would add was I agree with all of that. I think there's a real opportunity. Big picture, maybe 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 the kids right now that are at home get kind of like, a reality check early in life. People tend to think that they are invincible.
Yeah,
Humans,
jobs. Look at Vinny G's comment.
yeah, people really appreciate their jobs and how important they are. I know the employees woke up and how good our ownership is, or maybe this is a real reason why you should look for a new one. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The way you are treated through this and the way that it goes, I'm sure. And just the fact that something invisible to our eyes, how fragile, how precious life is. You're not invincible, and you only get one shot. And to approach your relationships that way, and the way you treat each other and treat other people, with humility would be awesome. Just to have a little bit more of that in the world.
Yeah, and I think communication is so important, and I think that when you're stuck at home right now, for that to work, you have to communicate. Whether you're a husband and wife, whether you're a parent and kids, that communication is going to be everything, more so than it's ever been before. You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to communicate with each other, and I think most of us are going to be better off in that regard than before this happened.
Right. Getting through it together.
Yeah.
It could be such a team kind of building moment for your family. Could be.
Yeah. It's nice when you don't have a choice, right? We are at home. We don't have a choice. We got to figure it out. We got to make it work. Why not make the best out of it?
True.
So,
you don't have a choice. Even in every conversation we have at our house, everybody has that. You don't need to get that last final comment or word in, because you're still staring each other at the face at the end of it. There's no, and that should be the case more often. I think. Why do I have to make that comment when and then walk away? Like, there's no getting away, and we all have to work together, and we're all playing for the same kind of win in this whole situation. So let's treat each other better. And I think we'll all grow up a little bit.
Yeah. And Sean Law says, I love being at home. I love my job. I never, ever dread going into work. But yeah, man, the mayor had said it. This is more than a once in a lifetime. This is beyond once in a lifetime opportunity for families to bond and enjoy each other's company and have lessons that could not be taught in any other circumstance, and have memories that will be made forever. So I'm with you there too, Sean, man. I'm soaking up every bit of it. A lot of people have said that it's gone by like really slow, like it seems forever ago. I'm on the opposite side. I'm like, what? It's been a week. Like, we're scheduled to have 3 weeks off. I'm like, that's a third of the time. Oh, I'm not complaining at all, but I'm like, whoa, that went by fast. Like I'm just trying to slow it down a little bit and be in the moment, be present with my kids, not checking my phone, but enjoying the hour of wrestling and playing craft time with them and stuff. So yeah, I'm loving it too, man. Loving it. All right. Pete White says he's heading out there. Yeah, I think it's probably about time to start wrapping up. You guys think so?
Probably.
Yeah. And yeah, who knows how long this will go on, but we'll tentatively call for next week too if we don't have anything going. I mean, it's as easy as doing this from your man cave, your kitchen, your studio. It's easy setup, and I think a lot of people have enjoyed hanging out.
Yeah, it's been awesome being here, guys. It's fun maybe more fun in person, but we try to be a little bit more respectful of like the distancing that everybody's having to do right now, and be aware of that. And this works too. It's different. It's a different feel. It really is. But hopefully you guys got something out of it.
Yeah. TMD, you want to hit him with some final thoughts?
Well, thank you for inviting me on. I know it's been a while, but I really enjoy being with you guys. I'm still learning the beard game. And you never know, maybe I'll show up next week and it'll be a circle beard, or it'll be who knows. But I think I'm going to keep rocking this beard stash, and I'll just keep trying to tame this beast. Thanks.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you guys for joining in tonight, man. You guys add so many layers to the channel that I could never offer. And It's so valuable. So many of the guys relate to you that it's a beautiful thing. So thank you guys for carving out the time and hanging out and just helping me. As we kind of said, we're as close friends get, and the beauty is we all have balance. Like we all have our different ways, and it's hopefully kind of a symbol of what the country could be. You know, we're all 10 years apart. We have very different personalities, very different outlooks, but we're always respectful. We always have, I think, an open mind of perspective and listening to each other, no matter what it is. I can't tell you how many conversations I've walked away with and been like, yeah, oh yeah, he's right. I didn't think about that. So again, maybe that's something the country walks away with, is a little bit of perspective and how to listen to others and talk to others. So I appreciate that. Thank you for everybody in the chat. I don't even have YouTube up. I only have StreamYard, so I don't even know if you guys have hit the thumbs up or thumbs down, but it's always appreciated, right? We talk about positivity, compassion. So if you leave a thumbs up on the way out, guys, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate the hangout, the good vibes. I will be here on Monday, as always, Commands Corner. Wednesday, Majorly Bearded will happen one way or another. And then you can probably count on Friday next week, the COVID-19 stream again. And there will be no lack of content. I think this thing is going to change a lot in this next week, and I'll be excited to kind of decompress with all you guys. All right.
Sounds good.
Cool. Right. Mayor TMD, thank you guys. Gentlemen in the chat, have a great night. I have a special video dropping tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's a bonus. I don't usually post on Saturdays, but quick hitter, under 4 minutes for you guys. 10 a.m. Check that one out. All right. Thank you, guys.